4, 3, 2, 1। अभी मैं कह रहा हूं, चांदी चमकने लगी है बालों में, ग्रेइंग ऑफ हेयर। चांदी चमकने लगी है बालों में, उम्र तुम पर हसीन लगती है।
Thank you, Dr. Manoj, for your kind words. Respected, जो आप सबने बख्श दी मुझे जिंदगानी। You are all welcome aboard the flight number ECS-TW, that is Empowering Clinical Skills Through Workshops, of Medifest 2015, launched by IIM Moradabad annual CAB team. I, the captain of the flight, Dr. Archana Tandon, and that is why I am dressed this way, with her co-pilots, Dr. Shalabh Agarwal and Dr. Nitin Kumar, are ready for takeoff. So tie up your seatbelts and get ready for the flight. First of all, I would like to thank a few people without whom we would not be sitting here enjoying this wonderful flight. First and foremost, our honored chief guest and guest of honor, for accepting our invitation, all keynote speakers for finding time in their busy schedule to join us and share their inspiring and thought-provoking perspectives on advances in medical science. My friends, Dr. Hitesh Bhatt, Dr. Shilpan Gundolia, Dr. Amita Sharma, Dr. Nitin Shah, Dr. Shivani Sachdev Gaur, who traveled long distances to deliver talks and teach us as moderators in workshops, as also to be with me to boost up my morale. To you, the members of IMA, for bearing with my truthful outbursts. My workshop coordinators for helping me in executing my dream project of holding 4 workshops successfully and a session of moot court to be held in addition to the CME, Dr. H.S. Singh for his efforts and hard work in the neighboring areas, as also for his enthusiasm, for it was infectious. Dr. J.P. Tandon and Dr. Divya Goyal, the editor souvenir, for bringing out a wonderful souvenir. Dr. Nitin Kumar, the organizing secretary, for carrying out the plans to the hilt and doing full justice to his post. Dr. Shalabh and Vice Chairperson, Dr. Shalabh, the Vice Chair of Moradabad, for keeping us all on our toes. And Dr. Sanjeev Singhal for believing in my ideas and making me the organizing chairperson. Completion of any project requires teamwork, comradeship, cooperation, and discussions avoiding argumentations, healthy atmosphere, and blessings of elders. Fortunately, we had the best blend of all of these. कोई आज तक न समझ सका ये उसूल गुलशने ज़ीस्त का कि वो ही फूल नजरे कैज़न हुए जिसे एतबारे बहार था। Last year, with me as the organizing secretary, we have launched a new concept of holding concurrently run academic sessions in specialty subjects in 2 halls. We advanced this year further on that path by giving us CME a national resemblance by holding successfully 4 workshops for the first time in the history of IIM Moradabad annual CME. I wish to see the organizing committee of the next year to carry this lead forwards by holding live workshops and more interactive sessions as part of CME. Well, what do you understand by workshops? To some it may be where the husband works and the wife shops. But here, we just finished with a lovely presentation on understanding the practical aspects of medical advancements and have learned as to how to empower our clinical skills using them. In addition to this, as the organizing chairperson, I have informed you, the doctors of our city and of the nearby areas, regarding uniting to save our fraternity. My stress today to the young clan of doctors is to develop an understanding of the importance of management lessons, of developing an understanding of medico-legal issues, and of being well versed with our constitutional rights in the country, and associations of fraternity bodies of which we are part, so that we are not misguided, misjudged, or misused by our clients, public, and office bearers in general. And so, believe in yourself and stand for your rights. CMEs, in addition to the specialist subject talks in general, should also incorporate talks which teach us, the doctors, to develop these special skills which are not part of our regular medical curriculum, but are so much necessary to practice modern medicine with dignity, safety, and honor. We, the doctors, form the most undervalued segment of our society that saves lives and relieves pain and suffering to make people live and carry on with their lives in good health. There are those in every family, in every community, living in every street in our country, who historically would have died or would have never been conceived or would have never been born alive, or whose mother would have died giving birth to him, or who would have died in infancy or childhood, had it not been for our fraternity. Disease and trauma can be overwhelming. Not everyone can be saved, but everyone has a family member who has been saved, often multiple times throughout their lives. And in even far greater numbers than those who have been saved from mortality are those who have had their years of life and quality of life immeasurably increased by medical treatment of their chronic conditions like diabetes, blood pressure, joint disease, depression, infections, injuries, and cancers. We make the diagnosis, we counsel, we prescribe the medical treatments, and we perform the surgery. We treat, we heal, we cure the population so that they can go on with their lives. And yet, our nation does not treat us, the doctors, as the invaluable resource we are. To understand this, we must first openly recognize that there are many cultural sectors with decidedly anti-physician sentiments. The word physician is becoming a doctor takes extreme efforts, commitment, and sacrifice. In college, while others spent their afternoons playing football, we had to initially indulge in courses of chemistry, physics, and biology to prepare for the All India entrance examination to get into a medical school, followed by 10 to 12 years of rigorous curriculum. Doctors are now marginalized as a special interest group and caricaturized as avaricious. Doctors often are cited for the purpose of inciting class envy. These are the ploys of the political demagogues and the journalistic iconoclasts. But remember, they should be ashamed of these ploys used against our community, even if unintentionally used. This is not professional of them and not true. We are now cast as but one of the many stakeholders in the healthcare system. We are now in for a healthcare system that will be a common noun, incorporating all pathies into healthcare system, equating us to an Ayurveda or homeopathy and BSc doctors with 1 month training in first aid as seen in Punjab and Haryana. To dilute the doctor's role, that is our role. Healthcare will be so effectively inserted into our national lexicon like it has been in America, that there they use the term conversationally, but we need to make the public understand that doctors don't do healthcare. They practice medicine. Doctors diagnose, doctors counsel, doctors prescribe, and doctors perform surgery. The unique and special nature of knowledge and skill required define our learned profession. We should be bold enough to ask our government the reasons for this inappropriate ways in which we are being treated today. Specifically, to what extent have our national and state governments, their bureaucracies and policies harmed our doctors and our nation's medical system? And what can we do about it? By asking the government, we should not be considered as being anti-government, for if you want to be a real human being, a real man, a real woman, you cannot tolerate things which put you to indignation, to outrage. I always say to people, look around, look at what makes you unhappy, what makes you furious, cause harm to the medical profession and thus ultimately harm patients, are that they know better than we do, and that they should tell us what to do. Governments are literally, gravely wrong in using these assumptions, for this over-regulation is in fact harming our society. For lawyers, documentation establishes legal proof of something. From this arises the notion that creating more proof is a good thing. So we assume that no job is complete until the paperwork is finished, and further that if we didn't document it, we didn't do it. Although there is no evidence that regulation mandated documentation improves any outcome, doctors and nurses today spend half of their working time not on patients but on producing required documentation. What a shameful systemic waste of, in some understandable form, is necessary. But documentation has become a false god, and the government must stop forcing us to serve it. We should be serving the patient. The voluminous free medical care poured out daily by the doctors and hospitals in this country has been unacknowledged for decades. Believe me, no doctor does mistakes purposely. Slowly behind the scenes, commercial insurers successfully assuming controls similar to governmental controls, thus unleashing the dogs of managed care. The enduring legacy of this misattribution has been to destroy the patients, and the public's confidence in the doctors and the government has seized on that to regulate us even more. Poor outcomes and complications are no longer understood as the consequences of political and governmental injury of the medical profession. In creating today's anti-physician culture can reasonably be called war on doctors. As also our CMO Dr. Sanjeev Yadav, to make the government realize that throughout our country, in every family, there is someone alive today who would be dead had it not been for us, the competent Indian doctor. This address is to recognize that though we are just like the rest of the population, arising from humble beginnings, we have become what we are through incredible hard work, constant personal sacrifice, and at a cost to our families that few of the common public can understand. To be a doctor today is to represent a great pursuit of any adolescent's dream, and our nation should place far fewer barriers in our path. Let not the intelligent class run away from accepting this branch as their profession. Let not their do is the patient, not the government. Let us pledge this day to unite to save our fraternity from all the quarters so that we can serve the humanity better without fear. Nearing the end of my address, I want to thank my foundation pillar, Dr. J.P. Tandon, who has the structural design similar to a Japanese foundation, which is capable of bearing the thrust of earthquakes of a very high magnitude of beyond 7 Richter scale, and without whom I would not be standing here. Thank you, Jay. My children, Arjun and Anuja, I love you and thank you for traveling miles to be here with me on this day. I end my address with a poem written by me to acknowledge my colleagues in the organizing committee, as also all of you for your generous contribution to be accomplished. A task to be done, laziness abandoned, it was at no one's behest, but to fulfill Dr. Singh's request. During the satisfying travel, never did once I feel the uneven gravel. Fully supported by my team, I wrote to fulfill a dream. We played best in the subject, well understanding a primary object. Our parent body is being benefited as the plan is getting executed. As this day of fan and fair has dawned and has taken off fairly well as planned, all the participants have contributed to its success, and I can feel the vibrancy as I stand here to address, with the academic thirst quenched and our souls fully drenched. We thank the Almighty as we start with our CME. With one sentence for the youngsters sitting here, I leave this stage. Let those who bury you know you are seeds and you are capable of growing into tall trees. Goodbye and happy conferencing.